Hey guys, a few of you have asked to see the process that we use to develop the dream maps for our kids. And so, what I wanted to do is put together a quick step by step process for you. But first off, it's really important that you understand where I'm coming from. Now, I've been involved with education, kind of the traditional education, for 20 plus years at every level, pre K to university, in governance. And I've concluded that the educational system is broken. This is not a criticism, it's just a clear eyed critique. And so, everything you're going to hear from me today and everything that really you hear from me anytime you talk to me is that no change is going to come from top down in the school system. It's going to come from bottom up when parents, thousands of parents, appreciate that normal is now broken in American schools and they begin to choose weird. So I encourage parents to be weird on purpose. And with that backdrop, this dream map exercise is going to introduce you to weird. And so let's begin with the goal of the dream map. The goal is explicitly not for your child to achieve the dreams that they're going to describe today. Dreams are meant to be a direction, not a destination. They are meant to unleash energy into the dreamer to begin them moving towards a dream that they want in ways that they may have never thought possible before. But achieving the dream is not the point. The goal is to help your child realize that they have dreams and it's safe to dream. And I just realized that I forgot to add some parts here. Again, dream map is going from bottom up. That's how education is going to get fixed. And we also choose to be weird. Right? It's a choice. We're going to do that. Now we're down to the goals, dreams, and the goal of this dream map is first that your child realizes that they have dreams and that it is safe for them to have these dreams. And I work with a lot of families. I hear so many stories of kids who don't know what they want. That's a dangerous thing. That's kind of what this box is. These are kids who don't know what their dreams are. I think that's dangerous. That means they're going to adopt someone else's dream for them, and that'll come through media, through all sorts of sources. Now, I also hear kids who have a dream, but they have no earthly idea how to begin moving towards that dream. That's these kids. They have a dream they're excited about, but they really have no real clear sense of how to achieve a dream. And again, that's part of what we're going to be learning about today. But the most common response that I get and hear from kids and parents is that the kids don't want to share their dream because they're afraid that by sharing it, they'll either be ridiculed or shamed if they speak it and don't achieve it. So fear keeps kids from dreaming. They keep their dreams kind of locked in this box. That is, to me, the most sad and the most telling dynamic, but it's really common. So the first goal is to make sure that your kids that they see that they have a dream and that their dreams are safe. So that's really important for you, the parent, to make sure that your environment is safe for this conversation. The second goal is more practical, and that's having them participate in this process for them to realize that there's actually a process to help a person achieve their goals. And then the third part of this is that the process helps for really to show a young person how to manage a project and how to problem solve. Hope you can read that. Okay, so manage and problem solve. Every high functioning adult knows how to do these two things. And so, unfortunately, our educational system rarely gives kids ownership of problems or skills, or they rarely show them how to tackle real life situations where they have real life problems to deal with. Put another way, this whole process is a stealth way of teaching your kids how to own their own learning and how to prepare themselves for adulthood. So here's what you're going to need in order to do this. First, you're going to need a whiteboard. I think that this should be standard issue for every family. You should have a whiteboard. It can also be a large piece of paper, but you're going to need it. It's going to need to be big. I've done this on a large napkin. I've done it on a cardboard box before. Any large paper will do. If you don't have that, then really get some sticky notes. You can do anything with sticky notes, and I'm a huge fan of them. You can put them on a blank wall somewhere in your home. Next baby shower you go to, get the family a whiteboard and sticky notes. You're going to be the life of the party, I promise you. Okay, here we go. Step one is to schedule time with your kids. Do not do like I do. Schedule boy, I tell you, when I'm presenting, I can't spell a lick, so forgive me about that. Schedule times with your kids. So if your kids are like mine and you come to them and you say, hey, I'd like to talk to you, they get nervous, all right? They know that there's something up. So what you want to do is let them know a day or two in advance that there's going to be something that you're going to ask them to do, and that this is something that it's a brainstorming session for them to help them and to really find out what they're interested in. Now, if your kids are under 8 years old, all the things I'm talking about are going to have to be toned down. So if they're under 8 years old, tell them it's going to take maybe 15 minutes. 8 and 12 years old, maybe 30 minutes. And then if they're older than 12, maybe an hour or so to go through this process. So step 2, on the day of the activity, you need to have all your materials. So you just need to make sure you're prepped. Again, my kids, if I tell them I have 1 hour to do something, they're going to be watching their clock. And the moment that 60 minutes goes by, they're going to start asking, are we done yet? And I thought you said we had an hour. So have your stuff prepared so you can move quickly. Everyone in the room also needs to have a couple sheets of paper because they're going to be doing some writing through this process as well. Then get a kitchen timer as well, or some sort of timer, your watch, your phone, so you can keep track of the time as well. And then move on to step 3. Step 3 is all about ground rules, and this is super, super important. This is where I have screwed up. And in fact, I've coached parents. They've screwed up. They've told me I've made adjustments to how I teach and coach. This is going to be a no judgment zone for the next hour. You got to be really clear about this because, again, those kids that are afraid, they're gonna close up if they feel they're going to be judged by this. So back to this ground rules: no shame, no blame, no should. Right? It's what they want, what their heart is asking them to do. That's what we're after today. All right. Okay. Step 4. Now ask them to take a few minutes to brainstorm their most unreasonable and wild dreams for 2021. Now, again, if it's a younger kid, you're going to be really talking about a wild dream for the next week or month. We'll get to that in a moment. But you're going to have them write down these dreams on their sheets of paper, or you can just yell them out and just have kind of everybody in the room participating. This part is actually a heck of a lot of fun, but there are rules to this as well. No idea is too wild, and what we're really looking for is we're not really looking for quality ideas. We're looking for quantity ideas. All right. So we're after quantity. Make sure that they don't hesitate. The more, the better. And you might even start by asking them, see how many ideas we can generate in 5 minutes as a way to kind of push the quantity part. Again, briefly, if your kids are less than, say, 8 years, you're looking at setting goals that are a 1 week or 1 month in advance, right? No year-long goals. They're too young to really appreciate even what that even means. If they're in between the ages of, say, 8 or 9 and, more or less 12 years old, you can look at 1 month to 6 month goals, depending on their maturity level. And then kids that are older than 12, you can generally go 6 months to 12 months or even 2 years if they're older. They have the maturity to understand that. Now, here's the prompt. What would you do if you knew that you would not fail? Oops. That's the prompt you give your child. I want you to brainstorm for the next 5 minutes as many ideas of what you would do if you knew you would not fail in the next 6 months to 12 months. Does that make sense? So this is, again, pushing them to have unreasonably wild ideas is what we're after. All right. Now, here's the structure of how you write up this dream map on your whiteboard. So you make a list on this side. Here's where all the ideas that your kids are generating are going to show up. All right. So you're going to list them here as they come up. No judgment. Get them on the board as quickly as you can. You want to move quickly. You don't want to bog down during this process. This part can bog down. Just get them on the board. Remind them that this list won't be static. You can always add to this. This is going to be hanging up in a room in your house after you get done with this to remind people of the process and to remind them what they're aiming towards and working towards. Step 6 is to choose 1 or 2 of these ideas, whatever that idea is there, whatever this idea here is here, and just put a star around it, circle it, something like that, so you know that those are on the target. I would recommend that you start with just one. If you've never done this before, start with just one idea. Ask the child to maybe list their top five, and then ask them to pick one of those ideas to start from. We're not going to just do one, but we're going to start with one so they can understand the process, and then they can begin to make progress on their own. All right. Pick out one of these, and then we'll start our map. And so that one idea would go here, right? Now that idea, again, it's one of a bunch of them, but it's the one that your child thinks is the one they're most excited about. And again, we're after excitement. Now, step 7 is we're going to do a short, quick brainstorm again about more tangible activities that can get them moving towards that idea. So if this idea is they want to, I'll put one of mine, is to, be fluent in Spanish. Then a very simple activity associated with that might be to sign up with an online class, right? And then you'll draw a little cloud shape around that. You'll continue to do that. The idea is do that 3 or 4 or 5 times. Some of these will come really easy. Some of them will be difficult. But as this is happening, what you're going to be thinking about is which of these are the easiest to tackle? Because in a moment, I'm going to show you why. You got to make sure you know which ones are easy, medium, and hard, because you don't want your child setting themselves up for failure. Okay, now step 8 is the final step, and that is to ask your child to pick again 1 or 2 of these ideas. And here you're going to need to help them, because you're going to be setting up 3 different types of tasks that will come from this. Now, again, setting up an online class, I may choose that as one of the ideas that I'm going to now pursue in order to achieve this larger idea. Now, setting up an online class is a task in and of itself, and I'm going to break that into 3 parts. The first now is the online class is the goal, right? The short-term goal. What is my 5-minute task? What is something I can do in 5 minutes to move me towards the completion of that task? One thing might be a 5-minute internet search for online Spanish courses. So internet search. Another might be an email to a teacher or a friend of mine who's a Spanish instructor for their ideas, right? These are super short ideas, and they're going to be done immediately after this process is over. The next one are 15-minute tasks that take a little bit longer. So maybe it's registering for a class. Maybe it's scheduling of meetings, again, with this fluent in Spanish idea, scheduling of coffee with friends who are willing to speak with me in Spanish over coffee. This 15-minute task is done within 24 hours of the date of the time that this process is completed. All right. So again, we have these time deadlines associated with these ideas. So here again is maybe scheduling the class, right? Finding it, scheduling it, paying for it. That may take 15 minutes. And then 30-minute task, maybe scheduling, coffee with a friend, a repeating schedule of coffee with a friend to go through Spanish together, right? That's the 30-minute task, and that should be done within 7 days, right? So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to let the child understand that every process can be broken down into small chunks. Every goal can be broken down into small subcomponents. And now you're creating these 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute tasks, each of them having a deadline associated with it. That is the process. The last step, I didn't mention, the last step is that you as the parent, as the learning leader, or as we talk about in the education game, as the head coach, you now schedule yourself to check in with the child a couple times this upcoming week, immediately after this session is completed, maybe in 12 hours to check on their status, and then again in 24 hours, maybe in 2 days, and then again in 7 days to kind of check in on their status. If they are not making progress, no shame, no blame. The key point is to say, okay, well, you missed that deadline. Let's set a new deadline. Should we set it for tomorrow? Here's also a place where you can start to coach your child. Is the task too big? Is the task too big? You can't just get it. You can't get it done. Do we need more time? Do we need to make it a week from now? Do we, right? That is the negotiation that then happens. But again, this is not about shaming. It is about helping the child realize that they can break down their beautiful, wonderful, wild dream into subcomponents. Okay, so let's review this process. Again, this process is a bit weird because we're not focusing on achievement, we're focusing on learning. Remember to watch out for the three common risks that come up when discussing dreams. Remember, the first is that they don't know what their dream is. That's okay because we're going to learn it. We're going to teach them how. But the second is that they know their dream, but they don't know how to achieve it. Again, that's okay because we're going to teach them that through this process as well. But fear is the biggest risk you want to avoid. And you want to make sure that your child feels safe so that they don't get locked into this box. Whatever their dreams may be, they need to feel safe to share them. Next, we'll show them the process that they'll need to achieve a dream. And then item 3, we're going to teach your kids how to manage a project and how to problem solve. Again, another hugely important life skill that's not taught in schools. Then we talked about the 8 steps. We talked about step 1, scheduling time with your child. Step 2, preparing for the actual event. Step 3 is making sure that the ground rules are clear. And this is super important. Remember, no shame, no blame, and no shoulds, meaning that this is for the child to express what they want, not what they feel that they should do. All right, step 4 is the actual brainstorming. Remember, we're looking for quantity of brainstorm ideas rather than the quality of ideas. And next is the prompt. The prompt is, what would you do, son or daughter, if you knew that you would not fail? And again, we're looking for unreasonably wild ideas in this process. Lastly, here's the review of the structure. Here's where your list will be, your brainstorm list. Again, remember, you're going to choose one idea and begin building a map of the dream. The dream is then in the middle here, and then on the outside are the specific action steps for achieving the dream. These will become the tasks that you're going to categorize into 5, 15, 30-minute groups in step 8. And finally, you will hang this sheet in a prominent location and set multiple times on your phone or watch to check in with your child on the deadlines. If they're having struggles, no problem. Just set a new deadline and give them a little coaching support as well. Now, this can be a super fun activity for kids and adults. And on that point, let me conclude by letting you know that I would strongly recommend that you do this for yourself in front of your kids. Ask your kids to help you do your own dream map. Remember, you're trying to build learners, and that means that they need to see you as a learner as well. This is one of the many lessons that your kids will not get in school, so it falls on your shoulders to provide it. So I hope this has been really helpful. If it has been, please leave me a comment and a like. And if it's not, or if you want more information, you can let me know that too. As we start the new year, let's remember that normal is broken in American schools. So make sure that you, the parent, are taking leadership over your child's learning to build kids who are honestly a bit weird because they choose things like, I don't know, learning over grades, right? Or curiosity over conformity, or production over consumption. These will be the types of learners who will be ready for the 21st century. I hope to help you along that path, and I hope to see you next time.